do I do? So I said that since I was a kid, I've always been pretty blatantly honest with her. I'm like, you're a failure, dog. Like, straight up. We were in the living room and us straight like that. You're a let's go. Are you and your man ain't got the Alright, man. So, it's just how it looks. The story says the day that I told my black mom, you're a failure. I get goosebumps every time that I tell somebody this, but this is the first time that I'm coming out socially, YouTube, whatever, right? So, this all starts, let me give you hindsight. My mom, growing up, she allowed us to talk back. Talk back, like people say talk back now. She allowed us to voice our opinion about some things that we felt even as children, because as a mother, she knew that maybe not everything she said or did wasn't right. So she allowed us to go ahead and question. Oh, mom, not say, oh, go clean your room. Why? Hell no, get her ass whooped. You know what I mean? But if she was to say, oh, one time she wanted to do my hair, and I'm like, can you cut it? And she's like, why do you want to cut your hair? And I'm like, because it keep irritating me. She's like, do you know what irritating even means? And I'm like, yeah, when it keep hurting and hurting. And she tells me that story every time. That should be hilarious. So my mom moved from Pennsylvania to Georgia. We started off in Norcross, Tucker, those type of areas. And if you know those areas, it's not the best area to be in, right? So it's not the best area to be in. So she worked her way up. Eventually she worked for the state of Georgia, and we got a nice house out in Snellville. Now this is before Snellville became what it is now. Boom. Like everything's starting to really look up for us. We finally got the house that we wanted. I mean, this was 4 bedrooms. My room was bigger than my living room now. You know what I mean? Like, my room was on some serious shit. We had the house around the back, patio on the porch, upstairs, downstairs, attic. I had 2 cubby holes in my room, walk-in closet, regular closet. My room was so big, I had 2 dressers in my room with a couch and a bed, and I could still have enough space to do backflips in that motherfucker if I wanted to, right? So, things started to be great. And my mom's paying off of the house, and I'm learning everything, but the only problem was I was growing up. And as I was growing up, I was learning from people that weren't my parents. I was learning from people at school, I was learning from teachers, I was learning from other family members, like, and then the stuff that moms say is not as, you know what I mean, applicable in real life. Oh, turn the other cheek. Oh, you know, my mom was never that type of person. She was, okay, did you whoop his ass? You know what I mean? So, coming from the place that I came from and moving to the suburbs type of area, it was really blue collar, but if you've seen it, you would kind of say it's the suburbs, right? So I'm coming from there, and alright, so we moved to Snellville. It's me, my mom, my 2 sisters, my stepdad. So there's 5 of us in all, and we have pit bulls. The house is huge. I love it. A lot of space, you know what I mean? It's great. We got neighbors. Everybody's really nice to each other, and mostly everybody in the neighborhood's black, right? But it's a pretty good neighborhood. Boom. Alright, so it's a pretty good neighborhood. After 2007, I think the market crash of 2008 just hit, and my stepdad lost his job. Now, in hindsight, we done spent all of these years building up to finally get this house, right? The house was $110,000 to own it, and my mom was doing her first rent to own, not rent to own, she was doing her first homeowners. Was it a grant, loan, whatever it was her first homeowner, so she got a special deal or a special case that it was, or whatever the case may be, right? Alright, so, market crash hits, everybody's out of money. My mom works for the government now, so it doesn't hit her. But my stepdad, on the other hand, he works for a car dealership. He's been working in a car dealership for about 15 years straight at this point. That's the only thing on his fucking resume. Car dealership. He finishes up the car dealership. Like he finishes up all of his applications for the other car dealerships in the area. Nobody's hiring because of the market crash, and he's trying to get regular jobs. It's not working out with him. So he goes to trying drugs. He goes and start doing some hard, right? So he gets the hard, and he's not going too hard. He's not a full out snap yet. You know a snap when you know a snap. You know a jug, you know a junkie, you know a J, you know a crackhead, you know a bass head, you know a dope head. When you see one, he wasn't that just yet. He only start fucking with it in the fact that he wasn't making the type of money to keep up with the household. Bills are piling up. My mom's paying for everything because she has the government job. So she has to step up and do everything. Now he's at home and he's seeing what's going on with the kids. And after all these years of you being out and about doing what you do, you don't really realize what's going on in the house as an adult. Or you don't really realize exactly what's going on with your kids because you're not around them enough unless you're an entrepreneur, unless you homeschool and have that really good intimate time with your child other than on weekends and then after school, but then they got to get washed and dressed for the next day. So I'm already in the mindset of my mom may not know what's best because shit's crazy out here. Like you clearly don't get it, right? We go through a hard patch. It's $2,000 to keep the house, all right? It's at the point, it's about to be foreclosed on. We are at $2,000 to keep the house. My mom spent everything that she had to put into it. That's how it got down to $2,000. To my understanding, I was a kid, so I heard the story when I got older, and I'm just recounting that. I'm in a situation where I feel like we are in the best place that we have ever been in my life, and now we lost the house. What happened was he went, started doing the dope, and it kicked in schizophrenia at his age, and with the mental and financial stress of everything that was going on, didn't do no good. It kicked in schizophrenia. My mom had the 302 him. So you know how it feels when you have to 302 a loved one. Imagine 302 in your husband, feel me? So he got 302 sent down to the spot. He in the spot, straight jacket. They asking him questions, all types of weird shit, and then after they evaluate him, they send him back home. Now, they sent him back home, but he's still snapping out. He's still going through the shit that he's going through, right? So, I'm upstairs with my homeboy. He's talking shit. I just came in from school. He's talking shit. He's downstairs. And he was an antagonist. That's why I have something against Sagittarius. I know it's probably not all Sagittarius. That's just some bullshit. It's just the only one that I knew as a kid. Okay. It's just the only Sagittarius I knew as a kid. And it was the first time that I seen like a man act in a way that was like out of aggression, strictly aggression within my household. Now I have a big family. I have cousins, aunties, and I've always seen it outside the household, but I've never seen that amount of masculine aggression within the household and how can it affects the entire energy of what's going on. I could understand the aggression though because you just got 302 by your wife. So you feel me? You're like, ooh, did I just get betrayed? What the fuck is going on? Why would you call people to evaluate me to see when you've been living with me this whole time? You think something's wrong with me? Feel me? So he's talking shit. I come downstairs. I'm turned. At this point, it's been bullshit. He's done thrown my food out that I just made off the back patio. He done did wild shit. He done talk shit to me, talk bad to me. Because I'm not his kid, but he's the father to my two sisters, right? So I get the blunt of it because think about it. You're not going to take it out on your wife. You're not going to take it out on your two daughters. You're going to take it out on a son that's not yours, and he's a bit older. So it's different. You got different feelings about it. Boom. I come downstairs. He's like talking shit. He's singing this song and shit. He plays his jazz music and he'll sing over the jazz music and shit like that. He thought he was just, I don't know. that schizo shit. So he was rapping or singing whatever over the jazz music. And I was like, yo, you step in this circle, I'm popping it off on you. And at the bottom of our steps, it was stairs and then the wooden piece to go to the door. So I'm standing in front of the door, I'm standing on the little stair piece, the first step, and I'm like, hey, you come into this circle, I'm popping it off on you. He comes over and jumps into the circle, right? He jumps into the circle, I'm like, wham! Doop, 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 doop. Start putting them pieces on him. You know what I mean? He grabs me, pushes me hard as fuck, right? So he grabs both of my arms, pushes me hard as fuck. I'm about $130. I'm about 125 pounds with some Timbos on in midwinter, right? Boom. So he pushed me. I go into the wall. I fall. My back hits the floor, but my head hits the wall. Boom. It got this little knot piece in the wall now, right? It's a little indent of my fucking head print. My homie come downstairs and was like, man, let's get the fuck out of here before I had to do something to him, right? My homie's on probation. This situation got him sent to jail. That's a different time. That's a different story. So, long story short, I'm gonna get this for another video. I got sent to RYDC after the police found me. I got sent to RYDC for possession of ammunition and simple assault against my stepfather. After I got out of RYDC, we lost the house. We moved back to Pittsburgh. So at this point, I'm being real. My mom's on Section 8 now. She just went from a government job to being on Section 8. She just went from getting hella bread to having to ask for government assistance, all because of who she decided to marry and the situation, all because of economics, all because of past and present, future. I don't know this at the time. I'm young. I'm like 16, 17 years old, and I'm just feeling myself. I've already moved out, already came back and shit like that. So I'm telling her, the story starts right, boom. I get fed up because I'm starting entrepreneurship and she keep telling me about work and how work is harder and how she feels about being an employee versus being an entrepreneur and why I should focus on getting a job and not focus on my photography or focus on my art, my work, anything, right? So I'm like, fuck, like this is my mom, this is the person that means the most to me, what do I do? So I said that since I was a kid, I've always been pretty blatantly honest with her. I'm like, you're a failure, dog, like straight up. We were in the living room and us straight like that, you're a failure, dog, like you're on Section 8 now, you're not working on doing stuff for yourself, you fucking, I'm just breaking it down. I'm talking shit, stone cold shit at this point, right? Because I'm fed up. She been divorced him, right? She been divorced him, so now it's just us and we're dealing with the bullshit. And I'm laying it down. Oh, it's just us and your husband left you and And this is the one time I was like, she's gonna fucking kill me, right? So she walks up to me and she's like, and she looks at me like this, she's like, so you feel like I ain't do nothing for you? So you feel like this? So you feel, and she was asking me questions about what I was saying, and I'm like, yeah, I'm hyped up. She was like, okay, so I've been in school since you were a kid in order to get that government job, in order to potentially even get that house for you. Now, once we got the house, you know what I mean, the economic crash and everything that's going on, you can't specifically just blame that on me. And then the fact that I had a partner that decided to do things that weren't the best for the relationship and that she had to leave him broke the money in half too. So it's not just her fault. And she was breaking it down like, I done sacrificed this for you. You done moved from Pittsburgh to Atlanta, Georgia, to Tucker, Georgia, to Snellville, to California. You done moved around, and I purposely did that in order to give you a wide spectrum of what you can do. You really think that I'm a failure? And I'm like, oh shit. And she's breaking it down to me. She's like, oh, and I'm a black mom. I've been a black mom single this time. Just because I'm on a certain government assistance right now doesn't make me less than anybody else. You're not better than me. Oh, you think just because you've been making more money than me since you turned 18 when you got that insurance job that like you're just hot shit now. But you got to realize, like, I've been doing this shit. I've been taking care of you and 2 other kids by myself. I've been making sure you've been good. You're spoiled as fuck. Since I was a kid, I ain't went for shit. I could count on one hand how many times either the light been off or the water been off, but those were key points that fucked with me, and that's what I was talking shit to her about. And she's breaking it down like, look at your fucking family members, like look at your cousins and aunts and stuff like that. Not as a disrespect, but she's like, look at them because they were enclosed to a certain area. They don't have that wide spectrum of view. If you can't fucking see it, if you can't even mentally conjure it up, then it's never gonna happen for you. You know what I mean? So she's showing me exactly, like talking about family members, like, oh, look at your grandmother. You never seen your grandmother work a day in her life. My grandmother been on like Social Security and shit like that, I think, since we were young as fuck. And then I was thinking like, oh, she's winning technically. She don't have to work. If she wanted to start a business, if she wanted to do whatever she wants, she got her bills paid for. She got a roof over her head. She could buy a whip. She could do whatever she want. You know what I mean? And she's just fucking ripping at me at that point, and I'm like, fuck. So I felt really bad, and I had to like tuck my pride in and like really hold on to that. I really thought she was gonna fuck me up. I really thought she was gonna hit me, but that wasn't the case at all. She really just broke it down to me like, hey, so you're an adult now, so look, this is what the fuck I had to go through. Not only that, she broke it down as far as relationships when it comes to my father and her and things of that sort, and I didn't have nothing to say. So my whole goal of this video is just say, make sure that you respect your parents and really see if you can sit down and have that talk to see exactly what they went through to get you to the point that you are, or what they went through to actually, you know, make who you are. Now I got my own shit. I live more than 3,000 miles away from her. She was the first one that taught me about my first heater. Every single strap that I have, I've took it over to her house before I hit the range. She check it, look at it. Oh, I like that, or I don't like this. Like, it's been like that since I was a kid. My mom's not the ordinary mom. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. Don't matter to me. Yes, it do. What the fuck is I'm talking about? Subscribe. I'll see y'all soon.